Martha, Netflix documentary review. R.J. Cutler's new Netflix documentary Martha offers a glimpse into the world of Martha Stewart, a figure whose life journey reads like a tale of improbable twists and endless reinvention. From her start as a teenage model to her rise as a domestic Diane, her fall as a convicted felon, and her current status as an octogenarian cultural icon, and Snoop Dogg's unlikely sidekick, Stewart has led a life that is anything but ordinary. Cutler, known for his incisive documentaries such as the September issue, steps into the formidable task of telling Stewart's story, but the result is as guarded as the subject herself, creating a film that feels like a negotiation between filmmaker and star. A life lived in public. Stewart's life has been largely lived in the public eye, making it familiar ground for many viewers. Still, as Cutler navigates through the milestones of her life, her early modeling days, her rise as a catering queen, the birth of her media empire, her trial and time in prison, and her return to the limelight, Martha doesn't aim to surprise those already acquainted with her trajectory. Instead, the documentary seems designed for two key audiences: younger viewers who know Stewart only as a meme-worthy celebrity, and older viewers who may have lost track of her after her 2004 imprisonment. For those with only a surface knowledge of Stewart, Martha provides a primer on her storied career. But for longtime followers of her rise, fall, and resurrection, the documentary offers few revelations. What keeps the film from feeling completely redundant, however, is the subtle sparring match between Cutler and his subject, which becomes the heart of this 115-minute exploration. The guarded icon. Cutler is no stranger to prickly stars, having documented the famously icy Anna Wintour and the inscrutable Dick Cheney. Martha Stewart, with her well-earned status as a self-made billionaire, brings her own brand of control to the table. She presents herself as someone who only says what she wants to say, in the context she chooses, and nothing more. This dynamic gives Martha its tension and intrigue. Stewart, now 83, is a seasoned player in the game of public relations, and she understands her power. She knows that Cutler's documentary needs her far more than she needs it, and this knowledge subtly guides the film's tone. Stewart is selective in her candor, alternating between icy detachment and occasional flashes of vulnerability. She allows glimpses of her life at her opulent Turkey Hill farmhouse, but the access is tightly controlled. She goes about her business as though the cameras aren't there, but the audience knows that everything is meticulously curated. When Cutler tries to push her on sensitive topics, like the infidelity that ended her marriage, Stewart deflects, suggesting he consult her letters and diaries from prison instead. It's a calculated form of deflection, one that signals her unwillingness to engage directly with personal pain. Yet, Stewart's refusal to open up completely is not necessarily a weakness of the film. On the contrary, it's part of what makes Martha compelling. The documentary becomes a study in the limits of control and the ways in which public figures like Stewart manage their narratives. Cutler, to his credit, leans into this tension, often allowing Stewart's evasions to speak as loudly as her words. Filling in the gaps. While Stewart is the only on-screen interviewee in Martha, Cutler has spoken with many of her friends, co-workers, and even a few adversaries. However, these voices are relegated to off-screen audio commentary, which is overshadowed by the archival footage of Stewart through the years. The decision to exclude visual interviews from these other voices feels intentional, as though Cutler is emphasizing that, in Martha's world, she is the sole figure of importance. Still, the gaps in Stewart's story are conspicuous. Certain chapters of her post-prison life, like her ill-fated daytime show produced by Mark Burnett, are glossed over or omitted entirely. The Martha Stewart of The Apprentice is barely acknowledged, as if certain failures don't fit the narrative Stewart wants to present. Similarly, key figures like her ex-husband Andy are mentioned but never heard from. These omissions leave viewers to piece together the more complicated parts of her life. One of the more interesting moments comes when Stewart, discussing her trial, mentions a reporter who she felt was especially cruel. "She's dead now, thank goodness," Stewart says with a chilling nonchalance. It's a rare instance in the film where Stewart's protective veneer seems to crack, offering a glimpse of the calculating persona beneath her poised exterior. But even this moment feels deliberate, another way for Stewart to exert control over how she is perceived. The perfectionist's dilemma. Throughout Martha, Stewart's perfectionism is a recurring theme. Friends and colleagues describe her as someone who always demands the highest standards, both from herself and from those around her. This drive for perfection has defined her brand, from her meticulously curated magazines to her picture-perfect television shows. However, in one of the film's more reflective moments, Stewart admits, "I think imperfection is something that you can deal with." It's a line that seems to summarize her approach to life at this stage, acknowledging the inevitability of imperfection, but only in a way that she has perfected. As the film draws to a close, viewers are left with the sense that Stewart has found a version of herself that is polished but imperfect, relatable yet aspirational. It's the version of Martha Stewart that the public wants, and the one she is willing to give. And, as she might say, it's a good thing. Final thoughts. Martha is not a groundbreaking documentary, but it is a fascinating character study of a woman who has mastered the art of self-presentation. R.J. Cutler's film may not peel back all of the layers of Martha Stewart's carefully constructed persona, but it doesn't need to. What Martha offers is a portrait of a cultural icon who has lived her life on her own terms, and continues to do so even under the scrutiny of a documentary lens. For fans of Stewart, or those curious about her unlikely journey, Martha is an engaging, if restrained, look at a woman who has always been one step ahead of everyone else.